I wake up in the back of a station wagon. That's how you know you're about to have a very, very bad day. The windows are coated with black film, so I can't tell where we are. I feel a throbbing pain in the back of my head. My hands are tied behind me. What time is it? How long have I been unconscious? There's a man with me inside the car. I recognize him from a previous time leap. He's the one who stabbed Mayuri in the taxi. The man seems to notice I've woken up but doesn't speak. He just waves his gun menacingly, as if to say that there's no hope of escape. The dashboard clock reads 7:30. I look out the window again. Through the film, I manage to make out a street sign. We're close to the lab. Has the attack already happened? Before I left, I told everyone, including Mayuri, to run. If she did as I said, she won't die by their hands. She'll probably choke on a juicy chicken number 1. Something. But that doesn't mean she's safe. If I don't do something, Moeka's gonna take the time leap machine away. What will happen then? CERN can have the machine if it will save Mayuri. The problem is that it won't, not when the world itself is determined to kill her, and they don't want the machine, they want your expertise on this subject, because obviously they fail, and they need your brains to do it. As long as the time leap machine remains in my hands, I can keep trying to fix things. I'll leap again and again until I find a way to save her. But if I lose the machine, then the future is decided. A future without Mayuri. I have to get to it before they do, even if that means I might get shot. As long as I survive to reach the time leap machine, everything will be alright. Ah! My bound hands limit me to headbutts and kicks, but I somehow managed to knock down the man guarding me and escape. My chest and neck are covered with blood. I must have been shot during the struggle, but thanks to the adrenaline pumping through my body, I barely feel any pain. I can still move, that's all that matters. I run up the stairs with my hands still tied. I can only pray that I'll be able to operate the time leap machine quickly enough. Mayuri, Kurisu and Daru are in the lab. So are Moeka and her men. When I open the door and burst in, everyone looks at me in surprise. Okarine! When she sees my tattered body, Mayuri runs up to me with tears in her eyes. Wait! I try to stop her. In the corner of my eye, I see Moeka take aim at Mayuri. I try to put myself between them. I try to cover Mayuri with my body. But a man grabs me from behind and pulls me back. Ah! I watch, helpless, as Mayuri's tiny body drops to the floor. Her eyes, wide and wet with tears, seem to stare into mine. But I can see that they have already lost their light. She's gone. Again. Again. Again! What happens next is the same as before. Susuha defeats the Rounders and Kurisu helps me time leap. Okay. Gee. This is interesting. A flood of sound beats on my eardrums. When it subsides, I find myself again in the lab. It's just before 5. I have 2.5 hours before Mayuri dies. I find myself staring at the time leap machine. This thing is the reason for Moeka's attack. If only we'd never built a phone wave. Can you now tell Susuha? I wish this was more interactive, that it has some choices in it so I could tell him to do something. Can I somehow like call her? Like, yo, Susuha. Oh, part-time warrior. No, see, I can't even do that. Just do what I say. If only we'd never sent those D-mails. Perhaps the future might be different instead of the nightmare it promises now. Would anything change if I broke it? Just smashed it to pieces right here? In a rush of delirium, I grab a chair and lift it high over my head. Just as I'm about about to bring it crashing down on this infernal machine, a voice cries out. Stop, Okabe! What are you doing? Kurisu grabs my arm and pulls me back. Are you trying to break the machine? Dots. You don't have to break it, Okabe. We already decided not to experiment, remember? Anyway, put the chair down. I lowered the chair slowly. Not because Kurisu told me to, but because I realized what would happen if I really did break the machine. It costs, or will cost, Mayuri's death, but at the same time, it is also my only chance of averting that future. If I lose it, I lose my only hope of saving her. The fear of that outcome stayed my hands. You look pale. What's wrong? Dots. Are you listening? Dots. I can't deal with this. Not now. Wait! I flee from the lab. I don't have a particular destination in mind. People look at me strangely as I shuffle down the street. I imagine I must look like I crawled up from the grave. Soon I get fed up with the crowd around the station and escape to the pedestrian overpass. I get about halfway across the bridge and squat down on the concrete. The giant screen on the UPX building is advertising some gothic punk band. The ticker at the bottom displays today's weather forecast, along with the date and time. I realize that today is Friday the 13th. Is there no way to get through the day without Mayuri dying? It's already 5:30, 2 hours until the attack. The lights around Akihabara Station turn on one by one as the sun sets. The moe might be gone from Akiba, but the area around the station is still as posh as ever. I don't belong here. The bridge I'm sitting on has become a date spot for couples. I see them standing here and there, gazing at the cityscape with their arms wound around each other. Somehow they never seem to tire of the dull, unchanging scenery. What am I doing here? Mayuri's about to die. Hey, don't you think you're a little too old to be sitting on the ground in public? I lift my head and see Kurisu standing there. So this is where you went. I've been looking for you. Christina. What? What time is it now? 5:38. Hey, if you have time to sit around, then you can help me with the shopping. Shopping? Oh, right. Preparations for the party. In the original timeline, I went shopping with Kurisu at the UPX supermarket. And then we talked on this bridge, just like now. It feels like so long ago. Back then, I had no idea what was about to happen. Well, are you going to come along or not? Dots. I sigh deeply. I don't believe that it was wrong to time leap. However, Kurisu. I keep my eyes lowered. That's the first time you said my name properly. I feel her eyes on me. Help me. I can't save Mayuri alone. I realize that now. Reliving today again and again, only to taste the same despair each time, has taught me one important lesson. This is what I told you from the very start. You need to talk to people and lay a plan. Yeah! Seriously. Alone, I have no hope. Help me. Tell me what happened. I know you used the time leap machine. What? I look up in surprise. Kurisu doesn't meet my stare. Instead, she leans on the guardrail and gazes down at the plaza with her usual frown. You get a phone call and suddenly you're like a different person. It was obvious. I came from 3 hours in the future. What happened? They killed Mayuri. I lower my head, trying to hold back the tears. Then I explain about CERN and Moeka, and about how Kurisu herself activated the time leap machine and made this possible. I tell her about my previous leaps. I explain that the world itself wants Mayuri dead and that I can't save her no matter how I try. I keep talking for 30 minutes straight. During that time, Kurisu hardly says a word. It's all my fault. Talking to Kurisu lets me sort out everything I've done, everything I've seen. I shouldn't have told Daru to hack CERN. I shouldn't have asked you to build a time machine. I shouldn't have made Moeka a lab mem. Mayuri's death. It's all my fault. That's why I needed to bear the burden myself. I was resolved to do whatever it took to save Mayuri, never faltering, never giving up. And yet, my resolve has already crumbled. If you know that Mayuri is going to die, then what are you doing wasting time here? Kurisu's tone is haughty. Is this how I sound when I'm playing Hoyu and Kyuma? I just don't get it anymore. What don't you get? How to save Mayuri? Based on what you said, I guess the chronology protection conjecture is true. No matter what I do, Mayuri dies. And that's why you keep time leaping. There's no guarantee that the machine is safe, you know? Kurisu lowers her gaze and cups her chin, as she often does when assessing a problem. Even if the machine works perfectly, repeated use may have serious side effects. For example, you may become disconnected from causality itself. You need to understand the risks if you're going to continue. Disconnected from causality? Meaning? It happens all the time in sci-fi. You'll become trapped in a closed time loop, never aging, never dying, but doomed to repeat the same day for all eternity. Worst case, you may cease to exist entirely. What? Every trace of your existence will vanish. Nobody will remember you because your life will never have happened. Leaping through time is that dangerous. Humans are temporal beings. Kurisu looks surprised. Heidegger, I was thinking of that quote too. I heard it from you first. When? This isn't the first time I've leaped. Right, of course. Kurisu squats next to me, thinking deeply. If what you said is true, then I want to save Mayuri too. But as the co-creator of the time leap machine, I can't recommend its continued use. Will you listen to my advice? I can't do it alone. I know that now. I need your help. No, you need Zasua's help. I have to save Mayuri. I can't do it alone, but together, we might have a chance. I need to believe that. Please lend me your strength. Kurisu sighs. You're such a stubborn fool. What you've been through, I'm surprised it hasn't broken you already. Incredibly, she sounds concerned about me. She looks at me for a moment, then turns away as if embarrassed. I'll help. Anyway, I'm not doing this for you, okay? I'm doing it for Mayuri. Yeah, of course. That, and I think it'll make a good test subject. Now you're talking like CERN. It's completely different. How so? I only experiment on you. Besides, mad scientists experiments on themselves all the time, don't they? I guess. I'm no longer afraid to time leap. I'll do anything to save Mayuri. It's just a joke. Don't take it so seriously. Kurisu stands up and looks at her watch. There's not much time. I think we should have a clear plan before trying to change the future again. Yeah, let's get Daru and Susua on the team and let's let Mayuri know. We can change this. Let's go get a doll and dress it up in Mayuri's clothes. And, like, let's pretend it's her. So Moeka will shoot the doll and Mayuri can hide in the back and eat chicken. Yeah, I think I saw it, guys. We got it. Meaning, leap to an even earlier time. You did say that was pretty dangerous, though. You're saying that maybe because we're stuck on Friday, maybe we have to leap earlier than Friday because Friday is now doomed to end in the same way? Then explain the situation to me again. Uh-huh. Kurisu's right. My actions so far have been almost entirely random, and look where that's gotten me. I need a real plan if I'm going to save Mayuri. Let's go! Kurisu stretches out her hands. I grasp it and pull myself up. Mayuri and Daru are already back when we return to the lab. Susuha is there too. To get rid of them, Kurisu and I explained that we forgot to do the shopping, so could they please take care of it for us? I have to cough out the money to convince them to go, but it works. I understand why you can't tell Mayuri, but why can't you tell Hashida? I'll tell him when it's necessary. For now it's not, and I don't have time to explain. While Kurisu sets up the machine, I head downstairs to the Brawn Tube workshop, kick the door open and turn on the 42-inch CRT. That went more smoothly than I anticipated. It's highly illegal, of course, but I'll leap long before the cops get here. Kurisu looks shocked when I return to the lab. They'll throw you in the slammer for breaking and entering. In a few seconds, it won't have happened. Exactly. Kurisu hands me the headgear and I put it on. I see. That's how it looks from your perspective. What does it look like from my perspective? What happens here after you leap? You'll know soon enough. My consciousness travels to the past. That I know from experience. But what about the body I leave behind? If time is a straight line, then it's likely that the present will be reconstructed based on my actions in the past. But if the many worlds interpretation holds, then after I leave, this world will continue on as if nothing happened. I used to be so fascinated by the structure of the universe, but now I don't really care. All that matters is saving Mayuri. Dots. Kurisu's fingers stopped typing on the keyboard. What's wrong? It's nothing. I was just thinking. Maybe it works like a D-mail. The instant we send a D-mail, the present changes around us. Thanks to reading Steiner, only I remember what it was like before the change. That would make things easier, though I kinda hope you're wrong. Because you can't collect data if you can't record the change? Exactly. Kurisu nods and begins tinkering with the settings again. I set the destination to 5 hours ago. You should arrive around 1:40 PM. I completed the time leap machine just after 2. Do you remember? So we're leaping back before the machine was even created? Barely. For Kurisu, that happened only 5 hours ago. For me, it feels like weeks. Maybe it has been weeks. Nobody likes a man who can't remember dates. Be thankful that I make a habit of checking the time. I have a pretty good idea what happened when. Kurisu finishes typing and turns to face me. Listen, Okabe, if you're gonna keep using the time leap machine, there's one thing you must remember. Don't let go of your phone. Ever. It's your lifeline, your destination marker. As long as you keep it with you, you can leap to any time you want. But if you lose your phone, if someone else gets a hold of it, then if I leap to that time, my memories could overwrite theirs. I don't want to imagine what might happen next. If it breaks or the battery dies, then I won't be able to leap to that time. If it breaks, then I can get a new phone with the same number, but there will still be a period of time to which I can never leap. The time leap will fail. Once again, never let go of your phone. Got it. After you leap back to this afternoon, just sit tight and don't do anything until I complete the time leap machine. If you accidentally prevent me from completing the machine, it will likely wreak havoc with the timeline. As soon as I finish, I declare that we will not experiment, then send everyone home. Ask me to stay. Tell me the truth. If you say you come from the future, I'll probably believe you. How do you know? Who knows me better than myself? Kurisu grins faintly and stands up after she's done typing. Don't forget, it was my mad skills that turned the phone wave into a time leap machine. When you told me about your time leap, I took it as proof that my theories were right. I was happy it succeeded. I really was. I didn't doubt it was true for a second. I see. Just to be safe, I should probably give you a passphrase. What I want the most right now is my own fork. What? It doesn't mean anything, okay? You want your own fork? I already have my own spoon. Wait, that doesn't matter. Everything's ready. Now get out of here. I nod and call up the phone wave, name subject to change. Here we go. See you on the other side, Kurisu. Be careful, and remember, I'm always on your side. Not according to Susuha. Can we just kiss her quickly and then disappear? Like, mwah, hee, then phew, we're gone. That would be cool. Kurisu touches my shoulder, then steps away. Here we go again. Time leaperoo! I lie back on the sofa with my phone in hands, needles in my brain, a whining in my ear. These sensations never get any easier to endure. It's just like having a baby. I look at the clock. It's about 1:45. There's a high school baseball game on TV. In about 15 minutes, Kurisu will finish the time leap machine. All it needs are some final adjustments, so there's nothing for me to do but wait. As the pain in my brain subsides, I realize that my head is throbbing. Why? Oh, I remember. Right before this, I had an argument with Mr. Brown in which he introduced me his fist to my skull. Mayuri is at her sewing machine, working on her costume. Daru's at his computer, collecting moe artwork from the internet. Kurisu's in the development room, upgrading the time leap machine. I sit, motionless, as the minutes tick by. Suddenly, the sound of the sewing machine stops. Ocarine, can you come here? Mayuri shows me her costume. Can you hold this for me? Spread it out like whap. Mayushi, say whap again. Whap. I got a whap. Stop it, perv. I follow Mayuri's directions and spread the costume out by the sleeves. Okay, thanks. Mayuri looks a little tired. She was working on this costume all night. But then she smiles, brighter than the sun. All done. I said something here, didn't I? What was it? I can't remember. It doesn't matter. I finished before Christian. We were racing. You win, Mayuri. Congratulations. But I'm finished too. Kurisu finishes connecting the two cords she's holding. Complete! Alright, that's my cue. We're not experimenting. Eh? Crap, was that too soon? I just finished and you're already shutting it down? What have I been doing these past 3 days? Time leaping presents a host of problems. I want to consider them all carefully. Huh, that's an unusually respectable opinion coming from you. Problems? I thought it was done. I'll explain later. Everyone's tired, so let's go home. We're not going to have a party to celebrate? We'll do that another day. I managed to convince Daru and Mayuri to leave. I lend Mayuri my phone charger, since we use the same brand of phone. Kurisu tries to go home too, but I quietly keep her back. What? Are you upset? Yeah. Probably because I shot her down right after she finished the time leap machine. She'll feel relieved later, but only after she has time to fully consider its implications. I came from 5 hours in the future. Dots. Kurisu spares me with a piercing glare. Is that supposed to be funny? Her narrowed eyes make me believe that looks can kill. Don't glare like that! This isn't right! You're supposed to believe me! What made you think I believed something like that? You told me so! 5 hours from now, okay? Don't be ridiculous. I would never make such a baseless projection. I'd like to have a word with the future Kurisu. If this is how you're gonna be, then you leave me no choice but to quote you word for word. When I told you about my time leap, you said, I took it as proof that my theories were right. I didn't doubt it was true for a second. Don't forget, it was my mad skills that turned a phone wave into a time leap machine. I don't talk like that. What you want most right now is your own fork. What? Kurisu's face suddenly turns red. You already have your own spoon, apparently. She said that? Oh, I'm gonna kill myself 5 hours from now. She appears genuinely shocked for some reason, but I'm pretty sure she believes me now. It feels like someone peeked into my heart, and that someone is Okabe of all people. What does she think I'm going to do? But I think I believe you. Tell me the details. I explain everything to Kurisu again. I am able to organize my thoughts better since this is my second time. I see. If what you say is true, then we have a serious problem. There are 5 hours until Mayuri's death. We need to come up with a plan before then. Future me said that chronology projection conjecture holds, but I don't think that's quite right. That conjecture says that according to quantum theory, time travel is impossible due to the danger of disrupting causality. But when you time leap, there's no chance of a time paradox occurring. Two of me don't exist at the same time, and I can't bring anything with me to the past. All that changes are the memories stored in my temporal lobe. So at the very least, time leaping can't cause a grandfather paradox. So I was right. The universe itself is censoring me, correcting any changes I try to make. If that's true, then time leaping can't save Mayuri. Nothing you do will change the results. I can't accept that. Neither can I. The world is trying to kill Mayuri. As scientist, I refuse to believe such nonsense. What about the many worlds interpretation? I just need to observe the world where Mayuri doesn't die. The many worlds interpretation? That might have something to do with how Mayuri's means of death keeps changing. But it's supposed to be impossible for parallel worlds to observe each other. But why are you different? Because of my Esper power. Reading Steiner. This is no time for your Chenibiu nonsense. There's no other explanation. You mentioned that reading Steiner thing before. Were you actually serious? Why would I make up something like that? Our Demel experiments prove that I can somehow perceive changes in the timeline when they occur. It's an ability only I seem to possess. I don't know, but I don't want to rely on something that may not even exist. Anyway, you can't control which possibilities you observe. Even if the many worlds interpretation holds true, it's unreasonable to expect that you'll ever find a world where Mayuri doesn't die. Wait, we're not getting anywhere. Instead of analyzing what I've done, let's think about what we can do. Time leaping won't change the result, I just said that. Then what do we do? Calm down. How can I calm down? Do you know how many times I've seen Mayuri die? Covered in blood, gasping for breath, the light fading from her eyes, again and again and again. And all I could do was watch. I had my teeth grinding in my skull, recalling that despair, that feeling of utter powerlessness. Makes me want to lash out at everything within reach. Getting emotional won't solve anything. You're only calm because you weren't there. True, I don't know what happens 5 hours from now. To be honest, it doesn't feel real at all. But it's not like I don't believe you. You have to stay strong, Okabe. Kurisu pats my arm. Her hand is warm and her touch is gentle. How American of her. Sorry. She's right. Getting emotional won't solve anything. I need to calm down. Calm down. What I don't understand is how the cause can change but the effect can stay the same. It's like causality itself is broken. Maybe Kiryu Mueka shooting her isn't the real cause of her death. Maybe it's something larger and less obvious. For example, maybe she dies because we invented a time machine or because CERN discovered our hacking. If that's the cause, then it doesn't really matter how she dies. Causality remains intact. Can that theory explain why Nei pushed her in front of a train? Oh, right. I guess so. I guess she wasn't really part of CERN or whatever, but I was just really confused at that time. With good reason. Anyway, the principle of causality is absolute. Deny that and you deny all of physics. There must be a distinct cause for Mayuri's death. So if we figure out what it is, then maybe we can save her. Not necessarily. What do you mean? The problem is when the causal event occurred. If it happened too far in the past, then there's nothing we can do. But I can travel to any time I had a cell phone, can't I? Yeah, but you can't go too far at once, and the time leap machine was just invented now, which means that the furthest back you could probably travel is maybe like 6 hours back or so from now? No, it's still theoretical, but I believe that one leap within our machine has a maximum range of 48 hours. Okay. 48 hours? I can only go back 2 days? Why didn't you tell me that before? Before what? I just finished a time leap machine, remember? That's true. Future you didn't say anything about it either. Oh, so that's what you mean. Maybe she just didn't have the chance. So how come I can only leap 48 hours? I don't know. Even I don't understand everything that's going on inside that thing. But you can do consecutive leaps. That is, as long as this time leap machine exists. For example, if the time leap machine remains functional for 10 straight years, you can leap back to this moment 10 years from now. Of course, it would take a total of 1,825 leaps, so I don't recommend it. Still, it's theoretically possible. That would be 1,825 times your brain would get pierced with needles. Then what's the problem? Weren't you listening? I said as long as the time leap machine exists. When was the machine completed? Exactly. Exactly, an hour ago, August 13th, 2010, 2 PM, or thereabouts. It didn't exist before then. It's impossible to use the machine before 2 PM today. So what you're saying is, count 48 hours back. I can't go back farther than 2 PM on the 11th? Kurisu nods, her expression grave. Most likely. Can't you improve it? Eventually, maybe, but certainly not now. I need a real laboratory with real equipment. It'll be expensive, which means we need sponsors. And if we go looking, I'm pretty sure Shern would crush us. I'd say that's proven by the fact that neither you nor I have left there from the far future yet. So basically, we can't do anything? Even with the time leap machine, we can't stop Shern from killing Mayuri 5 hours from now? Was that a ladder falling? Was Susua looking in the window? At that moment, I hear a sound from outside the window. What? Is it Mueka? Did you overhear us? I dashed to the window and looked down at the street. It's Susua. I was a bicycle, but it sounded almost like a ladder, so I was like, is she using a ladder against the window to listen in on our conversation? But Susua is one of the people who can actually help you here. Maybe, possibly, probably not. But it's worth a shot. Okay? Her bicycle has fallen over and she's scurrying to pick it up. Our eyes meet. Huh? Why does she look so pale? Her lips move slightly. It looks like she's whispering something, but I can't make it out from here. Hey! I call out to Susua, but she leaps on her bike and zips away. She's acting strange. I smell a conspiracy. Mueka was a spy. Could Susua be the same? It's too dangerous to trust anyone. Susua has exhibited suspicious behavior, though not as much as Mueka has, so she might be of a different organization, but considering she saved you and allowed you to time leap into the past, I'd say she's worth a shot, dude. She's openly hostile towards Kurisu, and she's able to take down CERN's hit squad single-handedly. I wonder if this missing father of hers really exists. Could he be the John Teeter who's been posting on the internet? What is the meaning of the name Barrel Teeter? Instinct tells me that she knows something. I dash out of the lab. Hey, where are you going? I know I don't have much chance of catching her afoot, but I have to try. There's something going on here. This is a completely new sequence of events. According to my memories of the future, Susua is supposed to remain at the Bronchu workshop until 6:30 this evening. But when she overheard me talking to Kurisu, she suddenly took off like a bat out of hell. So we've already changed the future. This has to mean something. Let's go.